Okay, welcome back to Unclocked and Unbothered. On this episode, I welcome our special guest, Sarah Currle. Sarah Currle is a money hypnosis mentor and subconscious healing expert. She works with people to rewrite their subconscious relationship with money, visibility, and building a business. But here's where her story starts. At the beginning of the pandemic, Sarah was working three jobs: a 9 to 5, bartending on the weekends, and an online side hustle. She was doing everything right, and at the end of every month, she still couldn't pay her bills. She was exhausted, disconnected, and out of answers. Then she found her hypnosis mentor on Facebook, someone talking about money mindset, limiting subconscious beliefs, and the energy around money. And she signed up. And a few months later, while the entire world was losing their jobs, opportunities started dropping in her lap, and she tripled her income. Nothing in the external circumstances has changed, but everything on the inside did. And that was the moment she knew everyone needed to learn this, and her business was born. Sarah, welcome to Unclocked and Unbothered. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Hi, Jenna. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the listeners for having me. I'm excited to chat with you and thank you for this amazing introduction.
Of course. I think your story has a lot of layers to unpack and learn what like hypnosis is about and all those little terms that we talked about, the subconscious mind, the limiting beliefs. We can dive right into it. But before we start that, I do want to ask and take me back to the pandemic era because I want to understand what it actually felt like, working those three jobs and still not making it work. Like what was going on in the inside during that time?
Yeah, what a beautiful question. Yeah, like I feel like at that time I was really looking for answers. I think I was really looking for something that would fulfill me. Also, like that goes even actually a little bit further back in my story because I actually wanted never to subscribe to any corporate career or anything like that. I had actually tried before all of this already to, like, right after graduating, I actually had tried to become an opera singer, with actually a lot of people don't even know about me. So, and that was already like something where I was looking for different options on how to live my life and how to make actually money with something that would inspire me, with something that fulfill me. But that dream I kind of like gave up on after a couple of years of trying. And then I really got into like the traditional career path, I guess, like studying, getting your degree, then applying for jobs and then working in a job. And yeah, like that just did not last long for me. Like after like 2.5 years, which was around the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, wow, like this feels so horrible. Like this is exactly what I never wanted for my life. And now I'm like in it. So I was like feeling like very lost, very disconnected. And I think like there's like where there's like this one thought that I always had in my mind. I was like, okay, if that's it, like I want to be done with planet Earth. Like not in a sense of like I was in any danger or something like that. Like, don't worry. But it was just really like if that's it about life, if I have to continue like this, because I've seen a lot of people and there's nothing wrong with it, right? But I just could feel it's not for me. Like if I would look at other people and if I would look at my career path and be like, okay, like that's literally what I'm going to do for the next like 20, 30, or I don't even know like how long people are working like those corporate jobs, like 50 years or whatever. And then you take your like 2, 3 vacations a year. At least that's kind of like most people do in Germany. Oh my God, like this is so boring. Like I find it so horrible. It's so unfulfilling. And yeah, so I think that was really what's going on inside of me. I was looking for answers. I really had this feeling of like, this better be not it in life. And I started to feel just very, very uncomfortable. And of course, like while I was trying to already like, build that first online business, which was very unaligned, like it just made me feel even more exhausted and even more depleted. So that was what basically was going on. Yeah.
I see. It almost sounded like you had this dream and aspiration. You went for it, like the opera singing beforehand, and it didn't necessarily feel maybe safe in a way, like you were going through those times of like at least you tried to pursue it, but the 9 to 5 almost felt like that comfortable route that everyone was going through, so might as well go for it yourself. You were probably having those like identity shifts of being like, maybe this isn't for me, maybe this is something that I need to at least go get a 9 to 5 and then I can pursue it if I want to. And you've noticed that when you were going through those jobs, it was making you feel depleted. It was not fulfilling whatsoever. And you learn that very early on. And that can be really frustrating for people because you're sold like this life of like, this is what you should be doing. And then you get into it and you're like, I can't do this for 30, 40 years. How are people doing it? And I think
Yeah.
more and more people are waking up to this. And even though more people are doing it, it's very quiet and they feel a lot of shame around it. And
Mm.
you grew up in a household where working hard was praised, and but making a lot of money was viewed with suspicion. How much did you think that shaped your view around money, even when you were doing everything you were supposed to?
Yeah, exactly. It was almost like this belief or this subconscious block of like, no matter how hard it is, I never get to the end goal. Like, there's always this gap, and no matter how hard I try, this gap will never close.
Mm.
When I was going for the opera singing, because like no matter how hard I tried, I never reached the end goal. Like, I never saw like the big success that I wanted to see. So it really felt like, yeah, no matter how hard I try, it's anyways not enough.
Mm.
And that's literally what I guess would like also transferred then into having a 9 to 5, being a bartender on the weekends, and trying to grow an online business on the side, where it felt like it doesn't matter how much you're doing, like nothing, not much is coming back out of it. And I think that was for me actually the biggest breakthrough or the biggest thing that I subconsciously had to overcome.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel like that was kind of shaped very early in your childhood, like through your household?
Yeah, exactly. Like I do, that was definitely shaped there, like all these beliefs that we're having, um, around money, but also like visibility, success, worth, like who do you think you are? You just go and make money out of your your gift, out of your mission, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
you cannot just go and like just like work for yourself. Like that's not something safe. So those were like the narratives, I guess, in my family. And then like, like in general, how my parents would talk, or like in general people, especially at that time, like how they would talk about money, like everything is so expensive, or money doesn't grow on trees and things like that. And we were definitely not struggling, but yeah, it's just very interesting like how this like then like translate into creating a life that you love, where it feels like it's really not in reach for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it felt like for me. Yeah.
It's those micro sayings that you see and you remember in your childhood that really impact you. It's not just one big thing. Yeah, I think our parents grew up in a very, very different world back then. So when they created a system for safety, they can only see it through one lens and want their kid to also feel that safety as well. But they forget that we live in a different world now and things are shifting. And I think it's kind of like our duty in this generation to show our parents like there is like a possibility to fulfill your dreams now, thanks to you guys like building this through survival. We no longer have to operate like that.
I love that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And at least for my parents, like it was kind of like the first generation that did not have to go through wars. So like World War II was, and they were the first generation like rebuilding the whole country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like getting a well-paid job was the safest opportunity, and as you said, literally built out of survival mode. And yeah, at the same time, like right, like super grateful that we, this generation, um gets to explore now other opportunities. And we don't, I think like we're the first generation in general that has even the ability to look at the wounds that we've been
Mm-hmm.
carrying, the ancestral traumas that's been carried through through lifetimes, right, within us. Like
Mhm.
they did not have the time, or the awareness, I guess, and
Awareness.
we starting to create that. So it is a
Yeah.
beautiful opportunity. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say like I'm a generational cycle breaker, where it's like it's time to break that cycle that was
Yes.
carrying us through.
Mm,
Because for the first time, we get to do that. Now,
yeah.
you did mention that you were, you tried the opera singing, and then you went into your 9 to 5. You did the bartending job, and nothing was like really clicking for you. There's something really specific about the experience of trying every strategy and still not getting the results. So, at what point did you start to question whether the strategy was the problem?
I think especially the strategy part, I started really to question that through the online business that I was building. It was basically an online shop where you would sell products. And I mean, it felt like at that time, at least, that I would invest a lot of money and time into it. And it was like the structure course and a few more other courses and things that you can like learn at that time from YouTube. AI wasn't the thing.
Hmm.
So whatever we could grab, we would buy and like try to implement. Really, like literally nothing was working. I swear to God, like we invested so much money and we barely got any sales. Like, and especially at that time, like I mean, that was 6 years back. Yeah, like we saw like other people, like having their 10K, 20K, like business just started yesterday and it just worked. And we're like, whoa, why is this not working? Why is this not, when I say we, my ex-boyfriend and I, and we were just really wondering why is this not working for us. And I just really wanted to dig deeper into that topic. And yeah, that's where I feel like I understood. And also like, I guess like strategy in a bigger sense of like where people would tell me or suggest me what kind of strategy of life I should take, right? Like,
Hmm.
you go study, you graduate, and then you get the job and all of that stuff, and then life is good. And I applied all these strategies, but then also like actual marketing strategies, and nothing that really worked, or it just did not feel right. And I think that was the point where I really started to question this whole piece of like taking a strategy and just implementing it step by step. And also like, like just taking everyone's advice at face value and just following step by step. So
Hmm.
that's, I think, where I was like, yeah, this just not true for me. Like I have to do something about it.
It's very interesting. I feel like we grew up in a culture where it's like hustling is the answer, but we have to remember that like the belief system underneath is still broken there. So there are strategies and things that are like systematically there, but it could take you the wrong direction. One, if your
Yeah.
mindset isn't clear, and two, if the belief underneath is not correct. And you also don't want to put yourself in this box. When you were mentioning how people were telling you, it's kind of like when people are telling you to get a 9 to 5. You didn't escape that life to be put in another box and listen to somebody's strategy. I think when you're able to clear those
Hmm.
beliefs and create your own systems, then you're able to kind of go on that path that you're
Yes,
being pushed to do.
absolutely agree. And I mean, like in general, I mean, depends like on how a person is building their business. Like strategy is important. Like I'm also using strategy. I'm not saying like just sit there and manifest and
Mhm.
everything will fall from the sky. Like that is absolute bullshit. That is not true. I don't agree with that. But I do think just picking out the pieces and realizing what feels aligned, and especially how you get like the how and how you get somewhere is also important for me. There's a way where I really use my intuition to see, okay, hey, is this the right thing? Does this align with me? Can I work with that? And kind of like bringing those pieces together, and in general,
Mhm.
life choices as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's little actions that will help you align more and kind of live out that day to day to reprogram your brain subconsciously to become that person. But yes, you
Yeah.
need to, there are reliable structures out there to help guide you along the way. I want to get into the actual shift because you found your hypnosis mentor and and things started changing for you very quickly. But before we talk about that change, I want to understand what you were actually doing because I think a lot of people hear about subconscious reprogramming, but don't really know what that means in practice. So could you break it down for us, please?
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Basically, what is important to understand, or why you, I guess the question is like, why do you even want to work with the subconscious mind, and why do
Mm-hmm.
you even want to care about any subconscious beliefs? So for that one, it's I usually love to explain it through theory of the mind. It's like a scientific, proven concept on how our mind works. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit.
Perfect.
So what you need to understand is that first of all, 98% of your mind is the subconscious mind. So 98% of your mind has stored different belief systems, and most of them you are not even aware of. Now, the other 2% is the conscious mind. So the conscious mind has stored your logic, um, the ability to make decisions, analyzing, willpower, logic. Okay. So only 2%. So when you think about that, when we're sitting here right now and you're thinking, I got everything under control, you're actually actively just controlling 2% of your brain. Okay. By the way, the numbers vary from like 95% to 5%, then some, yeah. So whatever. We'll stick with 2% for now. But basically, 2% of what we are talking here right now, you can control. And 98% is just happening under your level of awareness. Okay. Now, your subconscious mind has stored the beliefs about yourself, beliefs about the world, like your worldviews, beliefs about money, self worth, relationships. Now, the question is, how do these belief systems come in there? And that's actually the most important and interesting part, I think. So basically, when you come to this world as an infant, as a newborn, you're just born with two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Every other fear, every other belief that you have is learned and taken on as you went through life. So that also means if you learn these things at some point, you're able to unlearn them at some point, which is actually already exciting in itself. Now, what's happened is when you are like in the age from 0 to 8, you're like a little sponge. You're taking everything up as a complete truth. Okay. So, whatever your, especially like very influential people like your parents or any caregivers, maybe grandma, grandpa, people who would take care of you, and whatever they tell you, whatever they say to you, you just take it in as a complete truth. But also, like when they would talk about, like if they would talk about money or how, like expensive groceries are or how the gas prices are expensive or whatever, you would witness that and you would listen to it and you would just take it all in. So let's say if someone is constantly telling you or constantly correcting your behavior, like don't do this, don't do that, don't scream, don't throw a tantrum, all of that stuff, like beliefs are getting installed of like, I'm not good the way I am, like it's not safe for me to be fully me, right? Or if we talk about money, like if you constantly hearing we can't afford this, you have a negative relationship to money. Or the concept that my parents would love to talk about, you have to earn it. Nothing comes free in life, you have to earn it, right? So all of these beliefs are being installed. You take it all into your subconscious mind. And then around the age of 8 and 12, you are creating something. It's called the critical mind. It's like a barrier that's between the conscious mind and the subconscious. Like I always love to imagine the conscious mind is on top, then there's the barrier in between, and then the subconscious mind down here. Now, when we now have this idea, and that's what's exactly what happened in my life, right? When I have this idea of let's go create a life that I love, let's make something meaningful or something that fulfills me, and let's get paid for it, right? Like this idea comes to that barrier, and then the barrier, it's almost like a bouncer, and it's looking into subconscious mind. It's like, I cannot find any evidence that this is true. Like all I find is
Mhm.
money is hard, it's not safe to be yourself, you're not good enough, and all of that stuff. And that idea goes to trash. Like your brain literally doesn't understand on how to actually create this in reality. Now, when we talk about hypnosis, like how do we even get there now? Because you cannot access your subconscious mind through journaling or through affirmations or through talking, which I do think is very important to understand. You need an actual process in hypnosis or NLP or timeline therapy, are one of these where the barrier is actually turned off. So the critical mind is turned off, and we have finally the ability to connect with the subconscious mind and to see the beliefs and install new ones and rewire the old ones, take the old ones out. And that's why it's so powerful. Yeah. And that's why you
Wow.
really want to work with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that barrier and how it's like a bouncer does that kind of take into consideration that term like self-sabotaging when you get to that point and then you're like, no, like I can't do it. And then you turn around because all of the beliefs tell you that you can't. So you sabotage yourself.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely
Hmm.
takes in the consideration the beliefs down there, and it will definitely self sabotage. Self sabotage also comes a little bit from this other concept. It's called homeostasis, which basically means we all have a comfort zone where we feel good in. And then we start to do actions, we go into the right way, and then our body senses, oh my goodness, she's about to leave the comfort zone. Okay, so the comfort zone is the place that feels safe for them or feels safe for us, feels safe for our body, for our mind, for ourselves. And it senses when you're actually about to leave that safe space. It's not an actual safe space, but it feels safe to your body. And that's actually also like a huge indicator. You're actually about to have a breakthrough, and that's when you're like self sabotaging.
I see. It almost sounds like the safe or that uncomfortable is basically just not familiar to you
Yeah,
because our conscious
exactly.
brain
Yeah.
and our subconscious brain are like, no, we don't know what this is. So it's going to try to like push you back. It
Yep.
almost sounds like your conscious brain is like the tip of the iceberg, but the subconscious is like this hole like underneath that we got to
Yeah. Oh my God.
learn.
I love that. Yeah. That's a very amazing picture. I love it.
No,
Exactly.
when you were
Yeah.
explaining, I'm like, oh, that's kind of what it sounds like. Is like
Mm.
it's so much bigger than we actually think. I didn't know we only can control 2% of our brain, when the
Yeah.
98% is all based on perceptions and the constructs that we create. But we can also unlearn, which is super cool. Now, how did you
Yeah.
come to learn about all of this?
Yeah, so that all of these things and my whole practice, hypnosis and becoming a coach, it came through my own learning curve and through my own healing journey. You've mentioned it in the introduction. When I met my mentor, Abby Levine, shout out to her. And I also then learned from her the work behind it. So I would basically first learn my own fair bit of like rewiring and going into my subconscious mind and understanding what is even going on there. Yeah, my own growth and healing journey.
That's really interesting. So you mentioned that your income tripled during the pandemic while everyone else's was kind of like losing their jobs at that point, And that's a really interesting thing to mention because it also shows like how much this work helped guide you through this. So what was actually the difference of you when you were showing up to this and you were making your decisions and your energy? What were you attracting after doing this subconscious work?
I love it. Good question. Yeah. So really what like it felt like all these opportunities and these doors would open up for me. Like I think the biggest one is it's more like an internal thing that happened was that felt I found myself again. I was able to like hear and feel myself again, connected to my intuition and to higher consciousness again, and were able to receive guidance and answers and understood like how to process my emotions and all of these beautiful things. So I feel like that was like where it started with the connection within myself. And then once I had like this amazing internal shift where I felt fulfilled and felt like I had a path again, like something to walk on and something to create, then in the outside world, it would have like job opportunities would come my way. I like found my calling of becoming a hypnotherapist as well, and a coach, and yeah, and then started to sign my first clients.
It's like that internal shift and then being able to kind of facilitate that work through what
Yeah.
inspired you and inspiring others. And we'll talk more about what you can provide for others as of right now. But I did want to ask one more question just in regards to this segment is we talked about how manifestations, if there's no real support in it, can feel very fleeting. And you also mentioned the science behind limiting beliefs and this kind of healing work. When you bring in quantum physics and science to support manifestation, I actually love this because I think that the word manifestation has been misused a lot and people can sometimes dismiss it as like woo woo work, but there is science behind it. So, what's the science that makes it real? Like, what's actually happening on that quantum level?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is so true. I agree. When you say like sometimes like people are like misusing it, I do think also it's honestly sometimes also like a lack of knowledge. I find like when people are just like internally connected to it, they're like, okay, I'm just gonna believe in it, and like it works to some degree. But if you then want to go out and teach it, and if a person is not just like very intuitive, like if a person is just more logical, it's super super hard for them to understand it. And it's honestly like you don't need to be spiritual or woo or anything, because you anyways manifesting 24/7 if you want it or not. So you can also do it intentionally, but for that it's like important to understand the physics behind it. So one of the things to understand is that, for example, when we look at the 3D reality, everything that we can touch and see is made out of particles. Okay, so the glass, the water, here the notebook that I have, all these particles, they attract each other. So that is one principle. It's called cohesion, where like particles attract each other. And the other principle is adhesion. Unlike particles repel each other. Okay, so that's the reason why this glass and the water are not becoming one. Okay, like the water and the glass are not the same, like they're like repelling each other. Now there is another principle. It's called quantum entanglement, and basically what that means is that when a particle here can ping a particle outside of it, so over distance, over time and space. So that means a particle here can ping a particle in the quantum realm and actually bring it in. So that means you're not limited to what's in front of you. And that also means that's why manifestation works through time and space. When we would talk about frequency, because I know like a lot of people using that, we are all vibrating on a different frequency, and I'm going to explain how that actually works. We are all generating a metabolic process in our body, and that metabolic process leaks a little bit of electricity, and that electricity creates an electromagnetic field. And this electromagnetic field can be measured with something called a spectrometer. Some people, I feel like that's not maybe like, some people know that. And what they can measure is literally your energy that you're sending out, and it vibrates on a specific frequency. It's like a radio wave that's sent out. We all have it if we are aware of it or not. And that's basically where the adhesion and cohesion comes into place, because that is exactly how we work as well. So we are following the same principle, right? Like if we are on the same frequency with money, opportunities, relationship, things like that, we either attract them, or if we're not on the same frequency, we repel them, which is cohesion and adhesion. These are like a few principles that I love to talk about, and I think it's important for people to understand that comes into place when we talk about manifestation. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a great example of quantum entanglement that you mentioned, how the energetics can kind of ping into a different like realm
Yeah.
almost. When it comes to like spirit baby work, like the conception portion is the quantum entanglement. So it's literally like our DNA is being created, and that quantum entanglement then energetically pings that spirit baby realm or the soul to
Mm-hmm.
come down into this earth. So that's like a beautiful example. When you were explaining it, I was like, that's exactly what like is happening literally, and how we come down to this earth is through that quantum entanglement.
I
So
love it.
obviously these are things that we can, that are tangible and we can use to manifest, because it literally creates life.
That is so true. Oh my God, I love that example. That is so good. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example. Yeah,
Yeah. I
so
think
good.
I love bringing in science. Like, not, I also have like a science degree. So seeing how like spirituality and science kind of mesh together as they always should. Because I think so many people are doing the work, but secretly almost like shy or embarrassed to say that it almost sounds like unscientific, like there's no backbone to it. But it's not. It's actually deeply scientific. It's just that the science is kind of newer or not as spoken about, and there's a little bit
Yeah.
of skepticism that comes with it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I agree. That's what I was saying earlier, that I find like still there's like a lot of people, they really don't know the science behind, and they also maybe they know it, but they don't really understand it, like how it would actually like apply in real life example.
True.
So they don't even bring it into their teachings or don't talk about it. And as I said, like it, like if a person is just not like that spiritual, which is fine, um like we don't want to leave them behind either, because
Mm-hmm.
the logic can absolutely come along, since there's a foundational scientific piece to it.
It's very
Yeah,
true. It's like you don't want to leave them behind, because like the work that we do can help them as well. So even like
100%.
through my learning is just trying to figure out a language that is a little bit more like scientifical or tangible for people to understand, so that everybody can benefit from it, because we are a
Yeah,
collective community. Whether we have spoken to somebody that's more on their like awakened journey, or they're still stuck in it and we're helping them kind of awaken through it, there's something we can learn from everybody.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yes. So I
100%.
want to kind of talk more about what you've built since that moment, because you went from the three jobs to an entire business around this work. And what does your life and business actually look like now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I love it. I mean, a lot has changed since that time. At that time, I was living in Germany. I decided that I'm going to leave everything behind, and I started to travel while I was building my business. So that was amazing. On those travels, I met my husband. He's from Canada, where we then got pregnant shortly after. And yeah, like we had our baby. We actually then moved to Germany. We raised our son in Germany. For that time, I was taking a little bit of a break in my business, and then actually moved back to Canada with our son. I always wanted to leave Germany, so yeah, I feel like so many things like evolved from that moment on, and have created an office here where I can work from. I work like 3 to 4 hours a day, and I was able to 5x my sales this year. So it's yeah, it's been very good. Like I feel like everything has really grown, and of course, like these things. This might be maybe something for your next question. These things, everything came with a lot of growth
Mm-hmm.
for sure, and with a lot of things to let go of and evolve from. But it just really shows that when you are fully invested, and as I said, like I really saw the changes the minute I started to look into my subconscious mind and what's been going on, like
Mm-hmm.
how good life could be. Like it's feel like it's been a quantum leap since then. Since yeah.
Wow. So I didn't know that you took that leap and like traveled the world and that expanded you to meet your husband on this path, have your baby, and travel the world, live in different places, and now you finally have your home. And it's not finally like a destination, like you're now successful. You're still on that journey. What made you decide like that shift of like, I'm gonna pack up everything and just travel?
I think it was just really like, it was like a really big intuitive nudge that I had, where I was like, either I'm gonna go in all, like I go all in at this point, or I never will.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did it.
Yeah.
And of course, there was a lot of fear, and I did not have much savings, so not sure if I would recommend that anyone. But I did it, and I think like the universe really made sure at this time to provide me with enough resources, because I feel like that's been my calling. So the universe really made sure, okay, like that I'm able to afford what I wanted to afford, as evidence that I'm on the right path. You have to jump in first. Like you really have to face your fears first and do it anyways. It's one of my favorite things actually. And the universe will provide, but you have to go first.
If it's called for you, it's going to keep calling you. And
Yes.
I'm kind of like in that space right now as I have this intuitive hit to do it. I've been pushed so much to be able to go on this path. And the universe is just supplying, like, it will reward you, even in like little ways that you might not notice consciously. If you're on the right path and you're following these intuitive hits, they're going to become more and more stronger the more you ignore it until you finally do it. So that's
Mm,
really interesting that you like just trusted it. You went all in. It really shows people that you can do it, and the universe and your subconscious mind will continue to reward you as you keep going, and you'll feel more and more
100%.
depleted the opposite way.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, like those nudges, or maybe just this uncomfortable feeling or uncomfortable situations will
Mm-hmm.
grow until you finally going to act on it, unless you feel like more exhausted, depleted, and not in a good space. So that's up to us, that's up to you. But the universe is going to make it uncomfortable for you. And at the same time, like, um, it's definitely not that's like all like sunshine and roses, obviously
Mm-hmm.
not. There's like still a lot to figure out, and a lot of growth happening. Like there's not an end destination either. I do think you're getting rewarded on the way, and also like a big piece that you will learn is to trust yourself. Like if shit goes
Mm-hmm.
down, to understand, okay, I'm capable, I can do this, I'm gonna find a different way. I feel like that's actually the piece where most people gonna stop when it gets like, also if you're on the way where you're being called to go, where it gets uncomfortable, and then people like withdraw, and that's actually where you really have to lean in if you're serious about it.
Yeah, it does. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of self-trust. And the intuitive hit is only the beginning of that self-trust. You have to kind
Yeah.
of work through those ups and downs because it's going to be hard. But when you come out of it, you're going to come out with so much that you've learned, unlearned, and there's this deeper self-confidence and trust that comes from it. Which leads me to my next question, actually, because you work with people through this subconscious programming. Who comes to you? Like, paint me a picture of the person who lands in your world and what they're actually carrying when they first show up, and how you help navigate that with them.
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I do feel like I was just thinking about this morning. This is so interesting. I have a different huge range actually of people. I do think like, no, I know, so like the common ground all of those people have is like they want to make the world a better place. They're like on this self-discovery journey, but also like how much impact can I create with something that I love. So I have people from knowing knowing that they're done with their corporate job and they really want to find something that fulfills them, to people who already making 25 or 50K months, but they're like drowning in work and see no way out of it. Most of them would definitely seek clarity. They want to create more visibility. They want to, like show up online with like speaking their truth and caring lesser what other people are thinking. They want to create impactful businesses. Obviously, they want to assign more clients and increase their revenue, but at the same time, they also don't want to burn themselves out. So looking to make it beneficial for their time and schedule as well. And obviously their relationship with money. So I would say these kind of like the main pieces where people would come in. And I have this amazing example from one of my clients. We worked 9 months together. And when she came in, she did not, she just knew that the corporate, like she was still working in her 9 to 5. She knew that the corporate world is not for her anymore. There was a lot of like doubt and a lot of fear around the judgment of what others would think, and who am I to even do that, and how am I able to even make money from something that I love. And we worked through these patterns, through these blockages. At the end of those 9 months, she had quit her corporate job, and she had not just one, but she became the founder of 2 companies.
Wow.
So that was actually so amazing to see what shifted in like just 9 months. I also have people who come in who actually want to shift careers, like they're already like entrepreneurs and they're shifting their careers from, like one niche into the other, and looking for guidance and creating that self-trust, and understanding how they can lead themselves through that change. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I think it's also, you have to remember that these people that they're shifting from making like income from a 9 to 5 versus making income fully for themselves, which is like 10 to 50K. And that takes a lot of self-trust and work to be able to feel like you deserve that. And I think your work definitely helps them shift their mindset to be able to take that income, raise their prices, know their worth, right?
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think what you're describing is something that came up in almost every of my episodes in this show. The idea that that external life is always a reflection of the internal state. Every guest I've had talked about identity, belief, inner work as the thing that actually changed things, but you're giving them the mechanism of why that's true. And I think that's what people are have been missing, not the inspiration but also the explanation. So before we keep going, I know people are going to want to get into your world and work with you after they hear this episode. So tell them what you have available and where they can find you. And all of her links will be in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Come into my world. Would love to welcome you. I usually find like a little freebie I have at the moment. It's called 30 Days to Money Magic. It's a workbook where I'm actually giving a few money manifestation exercises. Quick, effective. It gives you an instant energetic shift in like not even 5 minutes. I'll actually also explain a little bit about the quantum physics behind it. And then I have a journal prompt to look at your relationships with money. There's also a section with affirmations in it where we're not doing like the traditional affirmations because I don't think they create too much, but where they actually honor where you are at and your mind can start to actually believe what's possible for it. I
Wow.
have that. And then I have actually, this might be also interesting. I have a hypnosis process. It's literally to expand your capacity and to tap into that multi 4 and 5 figure mindset through a hypnosis process. So I would love to share that as well.
Wow, that's amazing. So both of these freebies are in the links in the show notes. Those are practical and free, so start there. And you can also find Sarah at I am Sarah Curl on Instagram. But I'm definitely grabbing those freebies after we finish here.
Yes, please do so. I would love
Yeah.
that.
So as we end off here, I want to spend some time at the end because I think you sit at a very specific intersection that most people haven't found yet: science and spirituality, strategy and subconscious. What do you know now about why people stay stuck that most of the self development world is still getting wrong?
I feel like the biggest pieces that a lot of people still thinking, let me just take this concept that has worked for another person and let me just copy and paste it, and hopefully it's going to work. And then people, investing, I don't know, so much money in like all this social media work and nothing is actually landing. I think that's been like number one, that people need to learn the self trust, pick out the pieces that work for you and leave out the rest. And that's what I always encourage my clients to do, because I cannot tell you how to live your life. Like this applies to strategy, to like how you build your business, to marketing, but also like in general, like life hacks, I guess. Like find out what works for you. Like I think that's the biggest thing where I feel like people get stuck over. They're like, okay, but I tried meditation and it's really supposed to be working, but it's not working. I'm like, yeah, then it's just maybe not for you. Or like for me,
Mm.
for personally, like I love meditation, but I don't like journaling. Like I really don't journal. Like it doesn't help me. I don't want to do it, so I'm not doing it. So I think that's like the biggest piece where I want to empower people to lead themselves and to find their own path, because no one has the life book for you. You will create it yourself.
That's super powerful. For our last question here, what do you want to say to the person who is working incredibly hard right now, trying every strategy and still not seeing the results that they should be seeing? And I know you've said this a couple different ways, but just to reiterate it for the ending here.
For that person, I would really encourage you to especially take a moment and pause and understand, feel into your body, even if the connection to your intuition is not that strong, but feel into it. What is it actually that you love to do? What are you just doing because someone else told you to do it? What are you like, where are you keep hitting a wall and you're trying to break through, which is actually a sign that this is not the right way? And then I'll invite you to look underneath, and I can actually give a little bit of an amazing tool here, which is super quick and effective to find out what's actually going on subconsciously. So think of the next goal that you have, or the next thing or intention that you want to create, as big as or small as you want. And then I would love for you to finish the sentence. I would already have put in that goal, that intention. I would already have XYZ, but, and now finish that sentence. But I don't know how, but who am I to have it easy? Money feels hard. No one is buying from me. I don't have ideas. These are all the beliefs going on subconsciously that you are experiencing. And that's the reason why you're hitting a wall. And that's why it feels so hard. And then you have a starting point to understand, okay, hey, these are the blocks subconsciously that are going on.
Thank you for giving the viewers that little tool. I'm definitely going to use that as well. I think that the most important reframe in this whole conversation is not effort or mindset. It's that effort without the internal alignment just creates more friction.
Yes.
Um, you end up working harder but staying in the same place.
Yeah.
And it really just shows that the internal alignment and those little things need to be restructured in a different systematic way through the subconscious.
I love it. Yeah. Beautiful. I love
Yes.
this picture that you created.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Is there any last minute things that you wanted to share that maybe I didn't touch on or didn't ask?
I think we created a very good picture of everything. So I really appreciate you having me here today. Um, I would love for everyone to just take that little advice, especially, like if you are already on the journey into creating your own business, or you just like orienting yourself, feel into where the fear is sitting. Feel into where is that fear, because that is exactly the direction where you want to go. That's the action that you want to take. Fear is a beautiful indicator of where you're supposed to be going. So start there.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and I hope to collab in the future. You can find Sarah in all of the links below.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This was amazing.
Yes, so amazing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Unclocked and Unbothered. What Sarah said today is going to change how a lot of people think about why they're stuck. Because here's what I took from the conversation. Strategy is not the problem. Effort is not the problem. The problem is that 98% of your mind that is running on beliefs you didn't consciously choose, beliefs that were installed before you were old enough to decide whether they were true or not. And you cannot hustle your way past a belief that lives below the level of thought. The only way through is in. If this episode moves something for you, go grab both of Sarah's free resources in the show notes. You can find Sarah at I am Sarah Currle on Instagram and sarahcurrle.com for everything else. And you know where to find me. All links in the show notes. I'll see you in the next one. Stay unclocked and unbothered.